Hi everyone. Today we are going to present Caterpillar with our solution to their case regarding the accommodation of increasing demand in their Latin American commercial division. Our team consists of Stephen Chen, Jake Flanagan, Rachel Jensen, Emily Kent, and Charlotte Wood. The problem that we were presented was how to reorganize CAT's current distribution network in Latin America in order to decrease order to delivery times and to accommodate for expanding demand. First, we needed to account for this increased demand, as it was clear in the data that the current U.S. plant in Miami, the plant in Brazil, and the plant in Mexico did not have enough capacity to meet demand. This inability to meet demand then, of course, leads to a potential reduction in customer satisfaction, which isn't good for any business, but especially for CAT, who places a huge emphasis on their customers and has excellent customer service as one of their core values. Our first step in approaching this problem was to consider the final outcomes. We had the option to either enter a new country and set up a new facility, or to increase the size of CAT's Miami plant at an off-site location. Next, we narrowed down some key factors from our research that we were able to benchmark each of the countries we were considering. We found research from the World Bank Group that quantified these benchmarks and used these as inputs for our solver model in Excel that we will discuss later. We then performed data analysis paired with a solver model with a binary constraint that then showed us which option was the most beneficial as a result of our aggregated benchmarks. Next, we were able to project demand from the historical data out to 2020 and figured the implications of any change in demand. Finally, we cross-referenced our solution with CAT's values and made sure that this solution was consistent with their business model.
So currently, Caterpillar has two options. One is to build a new facility. The second is to grow the current facilities located at Miami, Brazil, or Mexico. So building a new facility that are closer to customers will enable Caterpillar to effectively decrease the current lead time on average of 32.15 days from the current Miami facility. Caterpillar, however, has to consider the risk of operating in new markets with no former experience of operations. The second option of growing the current facilities, on the other hand, avoids the risk of operating in unfamiliar regions and enable a more consolidated inventory holding. By doing so, however, will increase Caterpillar's current operating cost and coordination complexity with no significant improvement in lead time reduction.
As we began to look at the various countries we wanted to look into expanding our distribution network to, we first needed to decide the factors we deemed important to have a facility in a specific country. These factors were chosen with CAT's culture of values in mind. To begin, we started with integrity. To combat integrity, we chose the factor of enforcing contracts. This meaning that the country we chose will have high ethical standards and the country stay true to their words in enforcing the contracts. Next, we focused on excellence. We wanted to choose a country with a great infrastructure and a thriving macro economy that would allow our facility to run smoothly and efficiently. Another value we kept in mind was teamwork. Ensuring that a country had a high sense of doing business or a high ease of doing business would ensure that this value was met. Commitment can also be achieved by ensuring that the country we choose makes it easy to trade across borders. This helps with ensuring that we can continue to serve all of our customers. Also with commitment, we looked at countries with a high value going to each country. This would ensure that we put a large commitment to putting a facility in a country that there is already a lot of business being made there. Lastly, sustainability is a value that CAT takes close to their heart. We wanted to make sure we chose a country that had a high stake in sustainability as well. We looked at all of the countries that CAT was doing business with, and as you know, it is quite a big list. But we were able to narrow it down to 7 countries that we took a deeper look into. These 7 countries included Colombia, the United States of America, Mexico, Peru, Chile, Argentina, and Panama. The way we selected these countries was very strategic. However, the first 3, Peru, Panama, and Chile, were selected because they were suggested by CAT, and we also agreed that these would be good places to look further into opening a facility there. The remaining 4 were selected based on criteria we found to be the most important. One of those criteria is a high volume and value of deliveries being made. These four countries selected, Mexico, US, Argentina, and Colombia, had 80% of the volume of total products being made and being transported to each of these countries. They also were four of these were all in the top 8 of monetary value going to that country. It is important to consider both of these and choosing a country to open a facility because we can decrease lead time and ensure that we are placing a facility in a country that has a lot of business currently. We also looked at strategic location. What we could tell on a map is that most of the warehouses were in the northeast region of South America. We also could tell that Miami was even more northeast of that as well. By moving southwest, we were able to serve our customers better to decrease delivery time and bring our products closer to them. Lastly, we looked at compatibility with the current strategic network that is in place. We believe it is very important to have ease of integration with the existing network wherever we choose to open up a new facility.
As mentioned earlier, we took a lot of countries into consideration for our expansion plan for CAT. In addition to our data analysis, we also did research to pair qualitative information with our data and to get a better idea of the bigger picture of what opening a business in these various countries would look like. Panama wasn't a good option as we found there is an inefficient government bureaucracy, an inadequate educated workforce, and corruption is very prevalent. Peru had similar issues with an added aspect of restrictive labor requirements. Colombia has high tax rates and prevalent corruption, as well as an inadequate supply of infrastructure. Added capacity at the Miami plant wasn't a good option because this does not help to reduce delivery times to customers. And finally, Argentina, which had many concerns, had corruption and strict regulations, just to name a few.
So by analyzing the demand dataset from the Excel file, the top 10 countries with the highest demand in terms of total dollar amount is highlighted on the map shown. In terms of demand, the top 3 countries, Peru, Chile, and Mexico, takes up over 56%. The area of demand is also heavy at the bottom area of Latin America, where Chile, Argentina, Peru, and Uruguay combined, taking over 45.8% of total order demand in terms of dollar amount. With half the demand coming from the lower part of Latin America, it is a good idea to focus on expanding in the area while the upper part of Latin America can be satisfied by current facilities in the United States, Brazil, and Mexico.
Ultimately, we chose Chile as our ideal location for the new facility. First, we analyzed the metrics we found on each country's economic and environmental rankings, with Chile coming out on top. We did this using Excel Solver, which we will discuss in our data formulation section. Next, we confirmed the need for a West Coast facility based on the locations of the countries with the highest volume shipped. We also researched to verify the stability of Chile with both politically and socially. Based off all these factors, we confidently confirmed Chile as the best location for the new facility.
To determine an optimal location to open a new facility, we used Excel Solver application. As you can see, Solver has 4 parts. The 4 components include decision variables, an objective function, inputs, and constraints. Solver then leverages this information to find an optimal solution. For this case, the decision variables are the contending countries that we selected: Peru, Mexico, United States, Panama, Argentina, Colombia, and Chile. The objective function is minimizing cost. To represent cost, we use hourly minimum wage converted to USD for each country. We feel that minimum wage is an indicator of the current cost of doing business in the respective countries. Next, the inputs are the factors to consider that we previously touched on, such as the ease of doing business, trading across borders, and macroeconomic environment. Each factor relates back to CAT's core value set. The scores for each of these countries and categories were found from World Bank Group's Doing Business Economy Rankings and the World Economic Forum's Competitiveness Rankings. Lastly, the constraints were used to ensure that a better than average standard was maintained for all input factors. The Solver output shows that opening one facility in Chile is the optimal solution. This decision will minimize cost, uphold CAT's values, and ensure better than average country conditions.
To decide a proper facility size, we used the forecasted facility utilization chart. We recognize that acquiring a new facility would take around a year, so we want the facility to be as sustainable as possible. So we took the average growth of 10% annually and applied it to the year 2022. Through this, we found that we would need 218,000 extra square feet by 2022. We will keep the new facility at that size, but we will leave room for expansion after capacity is hit in 2022. We also performed a sensitivity analysis to see how large the new facility would be if Brazil's expected demand grows an additional 25%. With our analysis, we found that by 2022, we would need a new total of 230,000 square feet. We would still confidently place the facility in Chile due to its geographical proximity to Brazil and other high-value markets, as well as Chile's strong political and economical environments.
Okay, to wrap it up, we believe building a new distribution network in Chile is the optimal solution for Caterpillar. From previous slides and findings, Chile matches all the values of Caterpillar while having the ability to accommodate for all of Caterpillar's expansion needs in terms of geographic location and product demand.